Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to another episode of On the Couch with Creatives. I say good morning because I'm here in the UK, but good afternoon or good evening if you're anywhere else in the world. I'm Melanie Perry,
And I'm Julie Hyde-Mew.
and this is On the Couch with Creatives. Fans of the show will know that we're part of the Creatives Group, the private network for creative professionals everywhere. Together, we help you create at your best, connect you with like-minded individuals, and therefore help you to grow your creative business. If that sounds like a good idea to you and you'd like to find out more, please don't hesitate to reach out to us after the show. We'd love to chat to you. But this is On the Couch. So, Julie, who do we have on the couch today?
Today we are talking to Harriet Blaskett, and she's an animal artist based in Kent here in the UK. She specialises in creating realistic pet portraits from photographs using coloured pencils. And she doesn't just do dogs and cats, she does portraits of horses and sheep and cattle, and they're just as beautiful one after the other. So let's get Harriet on the couch. Hello, Harriet. Nice to see you. Welcome to On the Couch with Creatives.
Thank you very much. It's lovely to join you both.
Well, we're looking forward to hearing all about what you do for a living. You have some amazing stuff. I've been seeing your stuff all over social media, and every time you post something, it just looks so beautiful, so realistic. Let's talk about first of all, how you discovered that you had this talent.
Oh, okay. So it was a little bit by accident. I had actually just bought another horse and I'd booked a couple of weeks off work to spend time bonding with my new horse. And that perfectly coincided with the first COVID lockdown. So March 2020, I was then housebound. I couldn't do any of the things that I'd planned on doing. And I was starting to get a little bit bored looking around the house. And a friend of mine from school challenged me to draw her two horses and her dog, which I used to do when I was at school for her 20 years previously. Hadn't really done anything since. And I picked up my pencils. It occupied me for the 2 weeks that I had off work. And I've actually never stopped drawing since then.
Well,
It's amazing how many people turned talents or hobbies even into businesses during lockdown. There was definitely a silver lining to that cloud.
Absolutely. It just, by changing our lifestyles a little bit, it made us look around us. And also, I think when you have such an upheaval and something that is so unexpected, it makes you look at your life and look at your priorities as well. You never know what's around the corner. So I think it just makes you shake things up a little bit, and really sort of look at what you want and what you want to do and what you enjoy.
And do you enjoy it? I mean, obviously you do,
Oh,
but this is something that you obviously had a talent for when you were very young, and then you just completely tossed it aside and then started scribbling during lockdown. And are you now caught up in it? Do you do it all the time? Is this something,
oh,
this is your life now?
this is my life now. I absolutely love it. So when I'm drawing, I don't think about anything else. It's almost like mindfulness. You just get caught up in what you're doing. The hours just pass. My heart rate slows down. It's so therapeutic for me. I absolutely love what I do. And it's not something that I'd ever really been encouraged with previously. And as soon as I picked up my pencils, I just felt like this has been missing from my life. What have I been doing? I need this. This is what I want to be doing with my life. This is where I'm supposed to be.
yeah, it's great when you get that feeling. But you say you drew at school. Are you a trained artist? Did you go through university? Did you train as an artist? Or is it just something you did at, secondary school or whatever, then you went out, got a job, did the things that normal people do, pay the bills, and just literally just have rediscovered your love of your natural talent for drawing?
It was not something I'm trained in. I did GCSE art, but it just wasn't. So the way the syllabus worked, what they wanted from you, just wasn't what I liked. I love realism, and also when I do something, I want to do the absolute best that I can do. I want to learn everything about it. I want to pour my heart and soul into it. And trying something at school for an hour and then moving on and doing something else, that just wasn't what I enjoyed. If I found something I liked, I wanted to do more and more of it, but it didn't allow for that. They wanted big, bold, abstract, brightly coloured. There was absolutely no interest in me drawing something that looked exactly like it. And as much as I tried to maneuver things to make it about horses at the time, it was always horses for me. That just didn't always fit. And trying to make up some sort of narrative about how I'd made their abstract project become some realistic horse portrait, it was a little bit difficult, and it didn't really go down well.
Well, that's the thing about art. It's very subjective. Whether you are an art lover or whether you are an artist, it's what you enjoy.
Absolutely. And that's got its pros and cons. You know, for a lot of people, a lot of other artists, pet portrait artists, it was not something they were encouraged to do at all. It was never a career option that was thrown out there. It's all down to personal preference. But then there's a joy in that as well, because if you create what you want to create, there's going to be someone out there that loves what you do and people that appreciate what you do just as much as there's other people that really don't. And that's fine for them not to like it. They're just not your audience. They're not your potential clients.
And I think that's the killer with, and I get on my soapbox about this a lot, especially in schools, is that, you know, arts budgets are always the first to get axed. You know, arts, drama, music in the budget, you know, the sports fields get sold off. All the things that are actually really, really important to children's development, both mentally and physically. You know, our problem solvers and our innovators and our engineers of the future won't be there if we cut the arts. There's a very strong correlation between the sciences and the arts. And if you look at any great scientist, they're also fantastic artists. And you can't force art. You can't say to an artist, right, you're going to draw a cubism, whatever, if that's not your thing. You know, that they have to, people who teach art have to understand about art, in my view. You know, and if you've got a talent and you were producing wonderful drawings that, okay, weren't abstract, but you produced a magnificent drawing like the one behind you right now, any art teacher worth their salt should have said, oh my goodness, you've got a great talent. Let's nurture that and let's let her, give her a project that she can do at home that she can get some really good grades with.
I think that's exactly it. And it's really funny. You probably saw me smile when you said about the correlation between arts and science. So I actually trained as a scientist. I studied biosciences at university. I worked in the pharmaceutical industry for 7 years. So yeah, it's a funny correlation. That was the other thing that I did well at school, and that's what I was encouraged with. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
Well, many people don't realize that in order to have a mind that composes music, you have to have a mathematical mind. Mozart's music is incredibly mathematical.
Yeah, definitely.
And a lot of artists is as well, you know, the composition and the scale and, you know, engineers and architects, you know, they're fantastic artists, but it's very precise. You know, there's different types of art, but art is actually quite precise, you know. I mean, was it Picasso said, you know, learn the rules like a pro so you can break them like an artist.
Oh, that's lovely. That's
I
lovely.
subscribe to that wholeheartedly. You know, you have to learn the process and then just, you know, go with your own thing. But yeah, I'm giving a talk actually at my son's primary school. I'm glad they're letting me do it, but it's to do with Natural Science Week. And I've said, well, I'm not a scientist, because they were after parents to volunteer who were in the sciences. And I said, well, look, I'm not a scientist, but I am very much into the arts. And I don't advocate STEM, I advocate STEAM. The A is missing, you know, and I would like to talk to the children about arts in science and how the two go together, and perhaps get them thinking about science a little differently, especially if they are artists, because they go hand in glove with each other. It's like, don't poo-poo a child because they show a really great aptitude for art, because you're probably destroying the dreams of the next great scientist, because you're sort of saying, oh no, that's got nothing to do with, you know, maths and physics and whatever. It's got everything to do with it.
You must be
Yeah,
teaching the teachers something as well, Melanie.
Oh yeah, I've got a speech. Oh, I've got a speech.
I think I've found as well for me, having studied anatomy and physiology, that's so helpful for me drawing realism portraits. I need to understand the anatomy and physiology behind my subject, because sometimes you look at a photo and you're not really sure what's going on. But having that knowledge of what the bone structure and the muscles underneath it is can give you your key as to what you should be doing and what you need to be focusing on.
Mm.
You need to
Leonardo da
know that,
Vinci.
especially when you're drawing animals, absolutely, and humans as well. Humans.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how precise you are, because your drawings are incredibly precise. Every single hair stands out.
Thank you. Yes, I do love details, and the joys of colored pencils. You get a good sharpener, you can get your pencil super, super sharp. And the point on that, each line is like a single hair stroke. So if you want to do that, if you want to draw every single hair, you can draw every single hair with colored pencils. And I like having that level of precision. You don't always need it. A lot of the time you might sort of block in an area of color, work with quite a blunt pencil, but when you do want it, it's there as a tool for you to use.
Let's talk about this picture behind you, because it looks like you look like a Viking maiden with the horns.
I just trimmed my head ever so
blonde hair
slightly.
too. Yeah.
So you don't just do dogs and cats, obviously. And wow, this one of the Highland cattle is just amazing. Was that taken from a photograph?
It is from a photo. So this is a real favourite of mine. I've actually still got the original in my living room at home. So for my commissions, mainly I'm doing dogs and horses, with a few cats thrown in. But I really like to draw for myself as well. And there's like a freedom in it. When it's a commission, it's got to be exactly as the photo. Whereas when you draw something that isn't for somebody, it just frees you up. It frees up your style. It doesn't have to be exactly right, and that just stops you from overthinking it a little bit. So when I get a little bit of time, I love to do a wildlife portrait or something that's just for me. And this was my Christmas project 2 years ago, actually, these Highland cows. A friend of mine took the photo. She's a fantastic photographer, and she said that I could use it, and took me probably about 60 to 70 hours of work over the Christmas and New Year period to draw these Highland cows. They're fairly big, they're sort of A3 size, and I just love them. I love Highland cows anyway. I think they've got so much personality, but when you work from a fabulous photo, that inspires you as well, and there's just so much texture, and I love the colours. I love everything about it.
I love them. I do. I love I actually quite like cows in general anyway. That might sound really weird, but I love that, like cows and camels, their eyelashes and their big eyes, and they're just so pretty. And Highland cattle, I just love them. We've seen them in real life, and especially the babies. They are so cute, and they've just got all this fluffy hair. They're like Muppets almost, they're like just really fluffy, gorgeous creatures. They're absolutely beautiful.
They look very menacing, though, with those huge big horns. Those horns are big.
They are, aren't they? They do have enviable eyelashes. And I think for me in a portrait, the eyes are the thing that really makes it. I think so much of the life and the personality, it comes from the eyes. So I've done a couple of cow portraits actually for myself, and those eyes and the eyelashes are just wonderful to draw.
Have you ever done any wildlife?
I have not as commissions, but for myself, I've done a hare, a fox, kingfisher. I've done some farm animals as well. I did a chicken as a challenge for myself last year. That really was a challenge, but I'm really pleased with the result. So I love to try something new. I think when you're challenged, I think that's when you develop the most as an artist and as a person as well. It's overcoming that.
And you saying that you draw all the time. It's funny because my aunt, I mean, she's in her 80s now, but she's a tremendous artist, but she can only draw or paint when she feels like it. And she was actually approached by a London gallery to do commission for a London gallery, and she turned it down because she said, I can't paint to order. You know, and she will sit and she could work for like 2 or 3 days, literally straight with no sleep, and churn out the most wonderful stuff. And then she might not pick up a paintbrush for like 3 years. You know, she has to do what she wants to. And when she does, the stuff she puts out is very good. But, you know, that is very hit and miss as when that will happen.
I think commissions certainly can be a challenge. To a degree, you do have to be in the right headspace to draw. I found when I was working full time as well, when I was trying to fit this into my evenings, it was really difficult if it was dark outside. And I use daylight lamps, but it's not completely the same. And if I was really tired, you lose that dexterity that if you're working really tiny detail, you need that motor control. If I'm very, very tired, I just can't do that. So for me, there is an element of it has to be the right time to do it. So it's definitely a lot easier now than it used to be.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about being commissioned to do people's or to draw people's animals and pets. Is it very lucrative? Because I would imagine that people just love it. They love having their pets a portrait, or they like, some people like their own portraits done. So I would imagine you've got quite a market out there.
I think there are a lot of pet portrait artists out there, and we all seem to be pretty busy. We love our pets, we absolutely love them. So having something like that of them that immortalizes them forever is an amazing thing. So I think, there's a market out there, but it's finding the right balance of price point and things like that as well. I work in coloured pencils. My portraits take a long, long time. So it can be difficult for people to understand why I charge the amount that I do for them. And it's, not everybody has that budget, but that's absolutely fine. There's other options out there for people.
How much do you charge? Because a portrait of a cat, and then would take you less time, but if you have a group of 3 huge big cows, that would take you longer. So do you charge by the hour? How do you get to the price?
No, so I don't charge by the hour, because some things you can breeze through and others take a lot longer. So it's very difficult to say to somebody, if you're buying something, you want to know how much it's going to cost up front, not, oh, okay, I'll tell you in a few weeks' time how long it took me and then work out a price for you. I think people need that transparency. So I know roughly how long things take me, and I've worked out my prices based on that. So mine will start at £280, and that would be for a single subject on A5. So that's about as small as I can draw, really, to get the detail in. And then it increases with size and the number of subjects, because I know that takes me longer. You can't rush.
Yeah. What about the picture of the cows behind you? Have you sold it, or do you sell prints, or what have you done with this particular one?
So this one, I'm quite attached to it. I probably would sell it, but I still have the original. I sell prints of that one, and it's been very popular. I've got greetings cards as well of the Highland cows, and they look so cute in little teeny tiny small greeting card format. That one, I've actually been working with a homeware company in Australia. They've bought the image rights to it, and they're soon to be released as a homeware range. So plates and flasks and placemats and things like that. So never done anything like that before, but it's really exciting. I can't wait to see the products in real life. That's coming soon.
So do you get a percentage of all the sales on the merchandise?
No, I won't. So the way this has worked is I've had a sort of one-off payment for them to use the image rights, and we've been very specific about what they can use it for, and where they're going to be selling it as well. So it was new territory for me, but I thought, you know what have I got to lose? If you don't try something, you're never going to know how you feel about it. It was difficult because I love them so much. I felt a little bit sort of, am I being really precious about this? These are my babies. Like, what am I willing to give up? But then, if other people can enjoy them as well, that's a lovely thing. And if it gets my name out there, somewhere, I don't do very much work for people in Australia, then that could be a good thing for me too. So what have you got to lose?
Well, we live in a global village now. How do people get hold of you if they want to commission a portrait from you?
So for commissions, it's via my website, which is just harrietblaskett.com. But I do get a lot of messages via my social media as well. Mainly Instagram is the easiest one, I find. I think it's a visual platform, and what I do is obviously very visual. So that one seems to work really well for me.
You said obviously that you draw with pencils and you love that, are really sharp pencils. Have you ever been tempted to go digital and try digital art?
No. I'm a real technophobe. My husband says I'm like a pensioner with it. I'm hopeless. You probably saw when we were trying to set this up, and I was like, I don't know how to do that. Technology, my brain just doesn't work in that way. And technology seems to hate me as well. If there's something that can go wrong, it'll go wrong for me. So I think digital, for me, it's a feel as well. When I'm drawing, I can feel how the pencils go down on the paper, and different pencils even feel different on the paper, and I need that feedback. And I think digitally I don't really get that. I use an Apple Pencil for my line drawings, and that works really well, but it still feels very strange for me. I find that quite an odd sensation compared to actually putting pencil to paper.
Yeah, I can relate to that because I love books and I love reading, but I don't do audiobooks. No, I don't really do audiobooks, and I don't do digital books. I really can't get on with like Kindle. I have to smell it, feel it. It's yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. There's something about a book and being able to turn a page, and then if it's digital, I find it difficult to read something if it's on a screen, whereas if I print it out and it's a physical piece of paper, I can read it just fine.
Yeah,
it's very strange.
If you love reading books in bed like I do, you'd rather have a book fall on your face than a Kindle, believe me.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you give us some top tips for people who have the same talent as you, who want to set themselves up as pet portrait or animal portrait artists and actually want to earn money from it? What would be your top tips?
My top tip, I would say, is value your time. One of the things as an artist that all of us seem to be quite guilty of not really valuing our time and our skill level. Probably if I work out how long things take me and the cost of my equipment, probably not even on minimum wage. Think about the cost of your materials, your pencils, and don't sell yourself short, because it's a real skill. Not anyone could just pick up a pencil and do what we do. So I think, valuing what you do and valuing yourself as well, I think is really, really important. If you're going to try and make a living from what you do, you have to sort of place that value on what you do and your skill level as well. Do what you love. You have to feel inspired by what you want to create. Use your style, how you like to draw. We started talking about rules earlier. Rules are there to be broken. With art, I don't think there are rules. I think everyone works differently. I see how different artists create, and some people will start in one corner and they'll work very carefully down, and then you'll have this whole thing built up, and it all looks beautiful at each stage. But for me, I can't create like that. I work all over the page. I'm a little bit here, a little bit there. And that's how my brain works. I need sort of a visual of the whole thing all coming together. So, do embrace your own natural style and just accept that not everyone's going to create things in the same way. I think that's really, really important. Don't be put off. I've heard so many times, like, what's the point in what you do? People could just have a photo. And that's fine if people want a photo. That's lovely for them. Photography is a real skill and an art form in itself, but it can hurt a little bit if you allow it to. If someone says, like, what's the point in what you do, when you pour your heart and soul into it? So be strong and stand with your convictions. There's going to be people out there that appreciate you and what you want to do, that are going to want to have your artwork hanging in their homes.
Absolutely, I love that. It's true. When people, there are people that appreciate art, and there are people that don't, and there are people that love the abstract, and people that don't. I'm like you. I like realism. I like something to look beautiful. I'm not somebody who can get excited about paint being thrown at a wall and costing $10,000 and people going mad over it. And it's like, yeah, great, but I could do that. You know, I'm not an artist and I can't draw, but I can stand in a room naked and flick paint at a wall. You know, because basically any idiot can do that. And it's kind of like, yeah, but because I haven't got a name, I can't sell my piece of splodge to somebody. You know, I wouldn't want splodge on my wall. I don't want my wall to look like I've thrown my dinner at it. I actually want a beautiful picture that I can gaze at and get lost in. Thank you very much.
You can get lost in splodges, Melanie. You can.
And I love that we've all got different tastes and there is something for everywhere. I mean, everyone. I think that sounds great fun, throwing some paint at a wall and
it'd be fun, but I won't want it in my living room.
No, I'm the same. I like to create in realism, and the portrait, the work and artwork that I've bought from other artists is realism. Actually, not portraits. I've got some beautiful landscapes, but I still like realism in that area. I love looking at colours, but you know, something really bright. We went and had a look around the Tate Modern recently, and there was a piece that was just a square of blue, but I really liked the shade of blue, so I quite liked that, but I probably wouldn't have it on my wall.
Or pay $20 million for it. You know?
I wouldn't have $20 million. I wish I
did. Some of this artwork, you know, it costs like millions. And you're like, yeah. I don't really get it. And some of these you know, artists, who is it, Tracy, what's the name, like the Unmade Bed.
Tracy Emmett. She's actually local to me.
You know, and again, it's some, I mean, and art is art, and some concepts I get, and some I just don't. Like, you know, that is it Damien Hirst who cut the cow in half?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, yes, but I wouldn't call that art per se. It belongs in a mortuary or in a vet school or something. Yeah. It's like, it's not something that I would pay and have put in my home.
Yeah, I find it quite interesting, but
but I wouldn't. I don't know, me. But let's just say that's what's so
but
art, isn't it?
Art is not just something to hang on your living room wall, Melanie. It's to make you think and to go to places in your mind that you've never been to before. So you mentioned the cow cut in half, and you looked at it and you wondered about it, and you're still talking about it. Do you know what I mean? So it initiates thought and conversation. That's what art is. Art is so much of everything. It's a beautiful picture of some cows, and you can sit and look at them and go, oh, that is so beautiful. And you can sit and look at them for hours and still see the beauty. But then you can also look at a cow cut in half, and you can wonder about all the veins of the
that to me is science in art. A cow cut in half is more scientific. Do you just mean it's like,
yeah, but you
get that as sciencey art.
You've just absolutely underlined your theory that there's science in art and art in science, and somebody can look at that cow cut in half and really appreciate the way the veins pop out and the way the muscles. It's a work of art, isn't it? The insides of a cow.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, anatomy and science is fascinating, and there is an art in it, and there's patterns and textures, and there is certainly a beauty in it. And you're saying again about some art costs millions. I think as an artist, no matter what you do, for some people you're going to be too expensive, and for other people you're going to be too cheap. There's a whole range of, everyone's got a different budget and what you want to spend in art, and it's so different, so widely different.
Saying that about science, so I don't know if you've ever been, I can't remember the name of the exhibition. There's a chap who is like, and they tour around the world, and they've done this a particular procedure about the human body, where it almost looks like plastic, that they've sort of flayed the human body, and you look around, and I've been around it, and it's quite something to see these preserved, like the whole muscular structure. And I think they also did like the human kind of like capillary system, and there's only like one, I think, in the world that is complete and this sounds really morbid, but actually I would have that on my wall because it's really pretty.
There you
You
go.
know, it looks like
Yeah.
coral in the sea. You know,
Yeah.
it's so fine, the detail's so fine that actually I probably would have something like that in my house because
There you go. You've just destroyed your whole argument, Melanie.
I wouldn't want to have a cow in my house, but I would have a whole human capillary system. That sounds really weird, but you know, I would.
Yeah. Do you have any other tip?
I think if you're wanting to draw animal portraits, I would say you want to really focus on the tones and the fur direction. Draw what you see, not what you think you see. So our brains can do all kinds of really strange things. You can be looking at something and you're not really sure what's going on, but you kind of think it's there. So you draw what you think is underneath, and actually that's not what's in the photo. You've got to really, it's so much about observation. I spend so much, probably as much time looking at my reference photo as I do actually drawing, understanding fur direction, what's going on, focusing on the tones, the shadows, because so much of that is what builds form. You know, I love colours, and I try and certainly for commissions, I need to get the colour as accurate as possible, but that's not what creates realism. You know, you could draw a green dog and it could look really realistic. It's about the tones and the fur direction, getting your darks really dark, your lights light, and all those mid-tones in there. So I think that's a really important thing as an artist. If you want to create in realism, is focus on those tones.
Right, wonderful, wonderful tips. Thank you. Now we're going to delve a little bit into that artistic brain of yours. Melanie is shuffling her pack of cards, and you are going to choose one. And then you are going to answer some questions, and just be aware that there is no right or wrong answer. Just say what comes into your head, even if it sounds absolutely ludicrous. Bear in mind, you are an artist. So when she asks you a question, you'll probably see a vision of something that you'll think, oh, no, I can't say that because people will think I'm crazy. We want the crazy, okay?
Oh, dear.
This is the on the couch part of the on the couch, where we
Okay.
delve into your psyche. And also it lets our audience get to know you a little bit better. So this is the values jam game. And we've got a whole deck of different values in here. And I'm going to run my finger along the cards, and you just say stop when you want me to pick a card.
Stop.
All right. What did we pick? And because we're creatives here and artists, we're going to ask you creatively about whatever it was that you picked.
Okay.
Okay. Now, this is quite a strange one for an artist, and it's funny because it did come up the other day as well. You picked ambition.
Ambition. Okay.
Ambition. So what does ambition mean to you, Harry? What does it, as an artist, if you were going to draw it, what would it look like to you?
Do you know, the first thing that came into my head was that I was going to draw my horse. I don't know why that is. I think sort of ambition, I'm not particularly ambitious. If I say, what do I want to achieve in life? I just want to be happy and have a good quality of life and a work-life balance. I'm not ambitious about wanting to have success and fame and things like that. I just want to be happy and be able to get by. You know, my horse is really important to me. Maybe that's why he pops into my head. I've had him on my to-do list since I started drawing 4 years ago, and I've still not got around to doing it. So, you know, maybe that's everything sort of all wrapped up in one there.
Oh, that's lovely.
Or your own horse. That should be your immediate ambition.
Yeah, I know. He'd be absolutely horrified if he knew he wasn't plastered all over my walls.
Bless him. What does it feel like, do you think?
Ambition. Like a hunger, I think. Maybe that's because I'm quite a greedy person. I love my food. But yeah, for me, it's almost like a need. It's not a sort of, not a want. It goes deeper than that. It's stronger than that.
Yeah, I think hunger is actually a very good good one, because it's that kind of what drives you, isn't it? And you've got to be hungry for whatever it is that you want, that gives you the motivation to do that thing, whatever it is.
So you as somebody who says you're not ambitious at all, you actually are incredibly ambitious. You are equating ambition with money and fame and a big mansion and a fast car, whereas you are very ambitious. The way you approach your work, you want to be the best that you possibly can be. That is ambition.
Yeah, I suppose so. I'm quite a competitive person as well. I always want to do the absolute best. I was having this discussion. So my family also quite creative, quite ambitious. And I was having this discussion with my brother yesterday about, I always feel like if I'm going to compete in something, I want to win at it. And he was saying, but it's not all about that. It's about the process and achieving things yourself. But both me and my sister are more winning.
So there you go. Ambition.
We're all about the winning. Yeah.
To be the best that you can be. I mean, ambition. A lot of people think that ambition has negative connotations, but it doesn't really. It doesn't really. No. You can apply that to anything.
So in the space of 2 minutes, you went from I'm not really an ambitious person to I really want to win. You see, this is what happens on the couch. The true you emerges.
Yeah. There's nothing like if I see a drawing that is just amazing. I remember doing it in the early days when I first started drawing. I'd see something that was just so realistic that I'd have to double take. I'd think it was a photo. And for me, that was so inspiring. I would see that and I'm like, do you know what? I want to be able to do that. And I can see that it's possible. And I want to be that person that inspires other people to practice and to try and to keep going with things. And I think that's such a lovely thing to have, is to just see something beautiful and it to be really like a driving force that you want to get there as well, to be just like them.
Yeah. And that's ambition, isn't it? In a nutshell, it's that wanting to inspire others. And that's the best sort of ambition, is to inspire others to be, not just to be the best that you can be, but to be the best that they can be, and realize their dreams and realize their full potential. In my vocabulary, there's no such word as can't.
Yeah.
You try, you give it a go, and you've got nothing to lose by.
I'm sorry, in my vocabulary, there are many can'ts. You won't get me on a beam. I cannot do that. I certainly couldn't do, well, maybe I could give it a try, but
you could try. It might not work. You might fall off it, but you could try.
Yeah, well, get a few bruises.
I think it's tied up with what you want as well. There's things that I can't do, but I also don't really want to do them. Whereas if there's something that I want to do and I'm told that I can't do it, then I'm a watch me kind of person.
Harriet, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the couch. We've so enjoyed talking to you and really enjoy looking at your work, and hope to see some more stuff. I found you on social media, so you pop up all over the place. So we wish you all the best for the future, and good luck.
Yeah,
thank you so much. It's been so lovely chatting to you, and really enjoyed having my cow horns for the morning as well.
Yeah, it really has been absolutely wonderful. Harriet's details have been going across the screen, so please do go give her a follow on social media and check out the rest of her artwork. We've been showing some pieces here as we've been talking, so you can see how amazing she is, but do go and give her a follow. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us this morning, and thank you to our viewers for watching as well. And until next time, we'll see you.